Welcome back to Are You Being Real? I'm sitting with the one and only Michael Strasner.
Yes.
Michael, welcome back to the show.
Great to see you, Mark.
Yeah, so this
Awesome.
is your third time now on the podcast. You officially are at the top of the leaderboard.
Yes.
Most appearances on Are You Being Real? So thrilled to have you back. And I'm stoked to have you back because you have a new book out. And it's been something that I've been practicing your leadership distinctions in the book, but the book is called Mastering Leadership, Shift the Drift, Change the World. And it's got your 12 master leadership distinctions. And I'm so stoked that there's a book about it now because I have a pamphlet that I practice and read the leadership distinctions out of. And they've been such a pillar for me in honing my leadership in terms of working through challenges. And it's just a game changer. So I'm so excited now that this book is going to be out there for the masses to be able to enjoy and to support in their journeys.
Thank you, Mark. I'm very excited about it. It's been an amazing journey to create it. And it's been obviously something I've been committed to and passionate about for the last 30 plus years. And I wanted to impart that wisdom. So creating leadership in other people and sharing the power and the ideas that I live by, but also have worked with you and many, many, many other people to live by so that they can create extraordinary results professionally, personally, in all aspects of their life. So it's fun for me and it's been an exciting journey.
Well, thrilled to have you. Tell us a little bit more about that and to dive kind of into the intersection of authenticity and leadership, because those, in my opinion, go hand in hand in a lot of ways.
Yes.
So, Michael, one thing that I've been doing lately at the top of these episodes is to invite the guests to come on and to share their truth and to perhaps share some sort of struggle that you've had. I know we all, as we're navigating our lives and doing our best, sometimes things happen. Sometimes things that don't go according to plan. And I'm just kind of curious if you can share a story of some sort of either struggle or challenge you've either been going through lately or have overcome.
Well, lately, I would say my biggest challenge is determining whether or not I'm going to continue on doing the work that I do the way I do it, because I've been doing it now for 30 something years. And so everybody has a comfort zone. And even in my work, which is breaking people out of their comfort zones so that they can access the power and the passion and the courage and the confidence to go after their dreams. Mm-hmm. Well, I get to also be an example of that. I also get to be someone that practices what I preach. And so my big challenge has been, when do I give up or let go or turn over the car keys or the reins to someone else and or other people so that they could not just move the ball forward and continue to do the work that I do, that I'm passionate about, but also do it as good or maybe better than me. And so what I'm really in the challenge of, and it's not all painful, but it's a challenge. It's not easy, is how do I recreate myself in other people so that, let's say 2 years from now, I can step back or step out or step into another game. And even though I'm aware of it, I'm sure it's going to be an emotional journey for me, because I believe in the work I do. And the work I do is not a job. It's much more than that. It's my life. I'm in partnership with people about their dreams, and I create a very deep, intimate relationship with people. And so when they win, it's like my son is winning or my daughter's winning or my best friend is winning. And if they lose and they have breakdowns, I'm right in there with them. I'm feeling the pain. Somebody has a loss in their life. I mean, it's like my loss. So I know that that's going to be a very emotional experience for me. And even though I know it, it's not going to be the same thing as actually going through it. So I think it's going to be, some form of, postpartum depression that I may go through, even if I, do develop these amazing leaders that I'm working with right now to become trainers at that level. I'm sure there's going to be a piece of me that's going to be, have I done enough? Or can I do more? Or am I too young to do this? Should I stay longer? All of those things. And so that's my next breakthrough stretch for myself, my next cutting edge, experience. And so I'm ready to take it on, but it's definitely uncomfortable.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Michael. Because for everyone who's tuning in, Michael, you've trained well over 100,000 people, I'm guessing, at this point.
Directly and indirectly, I have definitely impacted that many people.
And for anyone who hasn't been to one of Michael's trainings, I mean, these are intensive trainings where you're really getting in there and really taking a stand for people in like a really profound and beautiful way. This isn't just people like saying, hey, this is what I want to do in my life. No, you get under the hood and you get in there.
Yeah, because transformation happens from the inside out. Transformation doesn't happen from the outside in. You can't operate from the same paradigm and the same beliefs that you always operate from and then maybe add a little bit of something or tweak a little bit of something. Right. The idea of transformation is redesign. It's reinvention. It's letting go of and creating from a new space.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's beautiful, and that actually kind of leads into my next question. So I just released episode 200 of this podcast.
Congratulations.
And the kind of thesis or the theme of the show was this idea of becoming who we truly are. So Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And so I think that's a great concept, but we're also evolving beings. And what does that even mean in this world with so much noise and influence and distraction? So I'm curious to hear what you would say is, what does it mean to become who you truly are?
I believe that on some level, everybody has a purpose in life. Like, I don't believe that there are any accidents. So let's start with that. So if there are no accidents, then there is a reason I'm here. And if there is a reason I'm here, then not only do I get to discover what that purpose and reason is, but then also I believe that it's a never-ending process and unfolding of discovery. And in that, let's say authenticity is one of those things that I get to, and what is authentic to me and what is being real to me, then it's also sharing that with people, because I believe that life is a gift, and the happiest people in life are givers, and the most joyful people in life are givers, and the most revered and respected and admired people are givers, generous people. My Uber driver today, this is nutty, but I'm going to tell you, my Uber driver today was the number one, the best, the greatest Uber driver I've ever had. I have been in 500 Ubers. Why was he number one? Because he was dancing to the twist in the front seat of the car as he was driving me over here. And I mean, dancing.
Did you join him?
Of course I joined him. And I admired him. And the thing is, he wasn't obnoxious about it. He wasn't, oozing into my experience, like forcefully forcing it upon me. He was actually in his own experience, and he greeted me with a smile, then a dance. And then here's the cute part. You ready? He hit replay on the song and did it again.
No.
I swear to God. I mean, Chubby Checker hasn't gotten that much play in 20 years. But I mean, I couldn't, what else could possibly happen other than put a smile on my face, and when I got here, to turn around and give him a 5 rating and give him a generous tip. He didn't ask me for a thing. He didn't act like he needed anything. He was 100% connected to giving and generosity. And so here's what I believe. I believe he has discovered his purpose in life. Has nothing to do with being an Uber driver. That's a consequence or an action that he takes to support needs. But in no way does he act like he needs anything. He acts like he's like Santa Claus and he's just spreading gifts all over the world. So who's not going to tip that guy? Who's not going to give a 5-star rating to him? What opportunities are not going to come back to him? So I believe it's an unfolding discovery process of clarity about purpose, and then to share that with the world.
I love that. What a great example too. Like, so current right there.
Yeah, like, lit me up.
Yeah. When looking at the 12 leadership distinctions and this show being called Are You Being Real, I wanted to see if you could share with us 3 distinctions that you feel like really are tied either to authentic living or authentic communication. But what do you think are like the top 3 that are really tied to being real?
Well, for sure, values that are consistent with my vision. Everybody has values, and ego has values. Ego has values like looking good, being right, being in control, being defensive, selfish, arrogant, disconnected, competitive, win, lose. So ego has values. And when we operate from ego, we take action that's consistent with that, and we have the results that are consistent with that. So if you're an egomaniac or you're coming from that space, then you're going to have the results that say, yes, look at that. Leaders, master leaders, also have values that are consistent with the vision. So when they make their choices, when they make their decisions, they filter them through, how does this serve my vision? So take a value like win-win. Take a value like radical honesty. So are you kind of sort of honest, or are you honest? So a lot of people skirt honesty. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Think about those influences and how that impacts the quality of our relationships and the quality of our communication. So if I'm operating from values that are consistent with my vision, then there is no such thing as brutal honesty. There is no such thing as kind of sort of telling the truth. It's honesty. Simply honesty, and honesty out of serving the person, out of serving the vision, out of win-win, like that. So I would say another key distinction that serves being authentic is expert communication. So I think that people tend to be focused much more on what they have to say and much less on what other people hear. And I also think that people are much more focused on what they have to say than simply listening to other people. And as a trainer, I've learned in this work and as a leader for 32 years that listening is a key fundamental, not only tool, but a key fundamental experience that is necessary for me to be effective in my leadership and in my coaching. So I don't react. I respond. How can you respond effectively if you don't listen? How can you respond effectively if you're not in relationship and connected to what's really going on with people? So expert communication, learning how to say what you mean what you say, where your public conversation, the thoughts you have, and what comes out of your mouth are in alignment. So there's a genuine authenticity, a synergy, and it shows up. People get it. People experience you as real. People experience you as authentic. And then they can get your message. If they're distracted by your inauthenticity or your incongruence, then it causes a mixed message. So there's a lot of people that talk the talk, but there's not a lot of people that walk the talk. So walking the talk in your verbal communication, as well as listening and really absorbing and connecting with people at a deep level to understand them, to get them, to show empathy so that you can powerfully respond, based on what they want, based on what will work for them. Mm-hmm. So we've got expert communication. Another key I would say would be risk taking. The reason I say risk taking is because leaders are risk takers. All master leaders are risk takers, and we have dreams, we have visions, and we have the purpose to discover and the opportunity to discover our purpose. And so if we don't take risk on it, then what happens to the purpose? What happens to that desire for a meaningful life? It gets smaller, and we get overwhelmed with the malaise, the mediocrity, the day-to-day have-tos, the obligations. We have to pay our bills. We have to pay our taxes. We have to have money for food. It's called survival. So when we're not risk-taking, we're operating from a context of survival. And survival doesn't bring the juice to life. It doesn't bring the joy to living. It doesn't bring the excitement to the pep and the step to our everyday life. And when we're not risk taking, we're in that box, we're in that experience, and we just lose that passion. And so the passion comes alive when we risk. Every time we put our butt on the line for something that we believe in, we speak up, we ask for what we want, whether it's a raise or we ask the guy out or the girl out because we see them. You know how often, single people are out there in the world and they see somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, that person is so attractive. I'd love to get to know them. And by the time I am having this dialogue with myself and, my fear and what if she's like all the others and on and on and on, she's gone. And I've missed the opportunity. So how about go for it? Take the risk. Go say hello. Mm-hmm. Go introduce yourself. Go after what you say you want. The worst thing that'll happen is it doesn't work out. Then you dust yourself off and you wake up and you get back in the game. So I would say that those three distinctions are really key elements to authenticity.
Michael, there are 7 billion people on this planet. There's one of each of us. And, we're all living and breathing and oftentimes wondering if our existence matters. So something that I've learned a lot with whether working with my clients or talking to people who listen to the show, people want to live a life that matters and live a life of purpose and oftentimes want to be seen and heard and valued. So, with that, I wanted to get your 2 cents on the best ways of going about doing that.
Well, I've always believed and experienced in my own life that self-worth is created. Confidence, self-worth is really created by, number one, following through on my commitments. So it's a very basic fundamental. Every time I keep my word, my self-esteem goes up. Every time. And it doesn't matter how big or small. If I say I'm getting up at 7 o'clock, I don't get up at 7:05, period. You get up at 7:05, nobody knows you gave your word to get up at 7. You're negotiating with yourself. But what you're really doing is you're negotiating with your self-esteem. And by negotiating with your self-esteem, you're losing the value. Every time you keep your word, get up at 7, I'm up at 7. I'm up at 6:50. I'm going to go to the gym today, work out for 45 minutes. I will close 2 deals by 6 p.m. on Friday. Whatever declarations you make, no matter how big or how small, every time you keep your word, your self-esteem goes up, confidence goes up. And when your self-esteem and confidence goes up, another impact that it has is credibility. All of a sudden, you are seen as a credible source.
So a few colorful questions I wanted to ask you before we wrap this up. So I was listening to your awesome interview on Lewis Howes's School of Greatness podcast this last week. And one of your closing lines was about living life without a stick up your ass. So I'm curious to know of maybe an example in your life when you do find a stick up your ass and how you go about that with some levity and humor.
Well, let's see. So you're asking me about myself. Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say that I'm constantly challenged, like I believe everybody is, of living in the general public. And should I say it or should I not say it? In other words, we think things, we see things, and we observe things, but we don't always say what we really want to say. So we hold back because we want to look good. We want to fit in. We don't want people to reject us or be criticized or criticize us. And so, I was playing golf about a month ago, and this was really a funny thing. I was playing golf and, I was having a blast with 2 of the 3 guys I was playing with. One of the guys was having a horrible golf day. I mean, just playing horribly. And we were laughing, the 3 of us, laughing, joking, playing, embracing, and I was playing fantastic. So the guy who wasn't playing well, he chimes into the conversation. Here's what he says. He says, not everything is funny and maybe, you guys just need to grow up and not be so childish. So in that moment, I had a thought. Should I say something? Should I not say something? Because he was being really a putz. and ridiculous. And everybody knew because he wasn't playing well. So the politically correct thing to do would have been to say nothing and move on. Or, you ready? Gossip with the other guys. So I looked right at him and I said, okay, so let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. I just want to understand what you're saying. You're saying that we should grow up. And what I'm hearing you say in that is that if we grow up, we're going to be happy and content like you are right now. And he laughed his ass off. I mean, I confronted him in that moment about the ridiculousness of what he said. I said, when I was a kid, one of my favorite songs was John Mellencamp, Authority song. I fight authority and authority always wins. And the reason I love that song is because there's a line in that song, growing up leads to growing old and then to dying. And dying doesn't sound like all that much fun. So let me just say to you, my friend, if growing up means acting like you, I'm going to be a child for the rest of my life. Why don't you join us in the sandbox? Mm-hmm. So my point is, I didn't have to say anything. I could have said nothing. And yes, in that moment, I had a choice to make. Stick up my ass, withhold communication, be appropriate. I'm on the golf course. It wouldn't be polite. Or go for it. And I just went for it. And I can't tell you how happy I was. I was lit up. And I actually lit him up and got him over himself. It's just a golf game. Why are you you're outside. You're in the sun. Yeah. You're with your friends and you're complaining about your miserable game. So what? Get over it. Laugh. So that was one.
Awesome. Yeah, that really wasn't a problem. He was making it to be a problem, but I mean, in the scheme of problems,
it's like, seriously, you're that backed up?
Yeah. So you've worked with so many people. I feel like you've seen it all, people's deepest trauma, their greatest joy. And my question for you is, from all of that, where do you feel like most people could be more real with themselves?
I think that one thing that people don't really own about themselves is their selfishness. I think that we're encultured and domesticated in America, especially in America, which is where I'm from, so I see it daily, is consumerism. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being a consumer. I like to have a car that I like, or be able to play golf, or have a nice house. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things. But do I have to operate from the world is here to serve me? The world is here to give me, do me, make me. Do I have to be the center of the universe? Or can I be generous and kind and compassionate and loving and care about others? Is it really that hard? Is it really that complicated? Children get it. When we were children, we got it. We were 3 years old. We loved everybody. Imagine a 3-year-old walking around judging. Have you ever seen a 3-year-old that was judgmental or needed coffee because they were so tired, because they're, beat down by the last week of playing? Or a 3-year-old that's cynical? Can you imagine a 3-year-old that's cynical? Oh, I can't trust women. You know how women are. My mother. 3-year-olds are not cynical. They're happy. They're joyful. We have it in us. Mm-hmm. We have it in us to share. To be playful, to be loving, to be kind, to be sweet, to be thoughtful. And that's where I believe the real beauty of life can be. And I think that people are not aware of just how selfish and consumed they are with me. So
thank you very much. The last question of this part of the interview is, what gives you faith in humanity?
Well, my vision, leaders like you, leaders like the people I work with in my PhD programs, the fact that the trainings that I'm facilitating are full in San Diego and Los Angeles and Columbus, Ohio, full of powerful movers and shakers that are committed not only to their own transformation, but the transformation of other people. I am inspired by Americans who rise to the occasion when challenged and faced by extraordinary circumstances. We're always there. Americans are always there when a tragedy happens. But I believe, for example, like the kids from the school in Parkland, Florida, some of those kids they're the kids that started the March for Our Lives, registering voters, and also standing for and being committed to changing gun legislation. So really taking a stand for safety for our kids and for our schools. And so kids like that inspiring me, young kids standing up, being committed to marching and protesting, but also voting, using their vote. So I know we had a higher level and a higher percentage of younger kids voting. So that gives me encouragement. So I believe creating leadership in other people, the fact that there are so many thought leaders like you, like Lewis House, and like so many others that are committed to transforming people's lives by bringing people like me and other leaders on to share the wisdom and the vision and the distinctions. I believe that we're going to continue to spread it out there, and the dominoes will fall, and ultimately we will create critical mass, and critical mass will result in a transformation in our culture.
Michael, it's really it's an honor to be on this journey with you and to have learned from you. So I wanted to thank you for that, and wanted to see what can we do to support you.
Well, one thing you can definitely do to support me is my book is coming out on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, 12/12, the 12 distinctions on 12/12. And I am committed to having the book be not only a #1 bestseller, but to really have the book drive and be driven all the way up to the top page on Amazon, because the more people that buy this book and the more people that are exposed to the vision and the possibilities of mastery, of leadership, then whether it's your family life, your community, the workplace, your business, whether it's personal, we impact, we are interconnected, we are interrelated. Everything we do directly impacts the world. And we get to evolve and grow and develop ourselves on that next level. And so going into 2019, this is a perfect time to not only buy the book, but read the book and do the work that's in the book. So you come out of the box on 2019 on fire, lit up in your vision, lit up in your purpose, lit up in committed action to go out in the world and make your mark and spread it to everybody you know. So have all your friends and family buy the book. What a great Hanukkah gift. Happy Hanukkah for all my Jewish friends and family out there. And Merry Christmas. What an incredible gift. So don't just give the book, but give the gift of the information that's in the book and the value of it.
Strongest recommendation for this book. Like I said, I have been practicing these leadership distinctions for 5 years. And whenever I have a challenge, I go back to the leadership distinctions, and they are so supportive. And I think the way that you drill it down, you're so comprehensive. You really meet people where they're at, where you say the things, they're like, oh yeah, I've experienced that. And all sorts of inspirational stories, from historical figures. And I'm just really excited for this book to be in the world for more people to learn from. Because as you mentioned, like, you don't have to just be a boss to be a leader, like to have employees working for you, but you can be a leader in your family, in your community, and a leader in your own life. And what final words of wisdom, advice do you have for listeners of Are You Being Real, just to live an authentic and beautiful, peaceful life?
Life is about giving. Life is about contribution. Life is not about what's in it for me. And let's not have the season of giving be an event that we schedule on the calendar. Let's have life be about giving 24/7, 365 days a year. And if we could really embody that, then we're reaching out to our neighbors, we're unlocking the doors, we're opening our hearts, we're creating a safer place. I had a guy come up to me the other day who said that I was that school shooter. And I came to your training and I transformed my life. You have absolutely no idea. I have no idea what's going on in people's heads. But he acknowledged me for caring about him and showing him that the world cares about him and that he's not alone. And so because of that, he has let go of all of his history of anger and resentment and bitterness and being a victim and all the years of being bullied. and he let that go. So how do we not know that the next person or the person next to us isn't having sad thoughts or depressing thoughts? So reach out, hug, embrace, love. Don't ignore. Treat people well. Be kind. See the gift in people. Speak to the gift. Anyone can gossip. So be authentic. Be real.
The one and only Michael Strasner. Michael, this is always so much fun, and I look forward to round 4 when your next book comes out or whenever you're back in LA.
Thank you. Pleasure, Mark. I love you.
Love you too.
Great to be with you.